Ever since the idea was first had to put beds on a train back in the 1830s, the sleeper train has held a unique place in rail travel folklore, inspiring feelings of glamour, romance, luxury, and mystery. And though there aren't as many of them around nowadays, the allure of going to sleep in one city and waking up in another one more than remains intact. These days, the UK has 2 of them operating, and one in particular has been a bucket list item of mine to travel on for years. And tonight, I get to do just that. And I'm bringing you all along for the ride with me. So come and join us as we journey from London to Cornwall on the iconic Night Riviera.
Hello people of the internet, it's me again, and I'm back at London Paddington. You may remember last time I was here to chase one of the last HST departures out of London Paddington. A very special train that meant a lot to me. I wanted to ride it one more time. Well, things are a little bit different this time. I'm here not for a train that I've ridden before, but one that I've always wanted to ride on. And you can tell it's quite an unusual one because I'm here at about 11:30 at night. Normally if I was here, I'd be wondering how the hell I'm going to make it home before my last train. The thing is, this is my train. Right behind you, over there. This is my train, because tonight, I'm going on a little holiday to Cornwall on the Night Riviera.
The Night Riviera has its origins back in 1877 when the Great Western Railway, the original one, not the current one, introduced a sleeping car train between London and Plymouth. A second train between London and Penzance soon followed, and once British Railways did away with the Plymouth sleeper, we were left with what would formally become known in 1983 as the Night Riviera, so named in relation to the GWR's flagship daytime train, the Cornish Riviera. Do you see what they did there? The Night Riviera follows the standard Great Western Main Line route from London out west, before crossing into Cornwall and stopping at all the Cornish stations, all of them, on its way to arriving at Penzance, for a final journey time of around 8 hours. Just the right amount of time for a perfect night's sleep. So with that, let's go check out the cabin we'll be spending the majority of those 8 hours inside of, shall we? So I'm now on the Night Riviera itself, and welcome to my room. It's got a nice bed, it's got some mirrors, it's got some wardrobes, it's got plug sockets, and it's got this rather useful sort of top shelf, I suppose, for when there's a second bunk, which comes down here. But for the moment, I'm now using it as an alternative angle to place my camera to talk to you at the moment. Oh, and there's also some pretty interesting lighting going on. So what's this? Total darkness. Lots of light. Hang on a minute, I've just had an idea. It was a very good one. So far, so nice and cozy, to be honest. But just why is this train such a bucket list item for me, you might ask? Well, even if you aren't actually asking that question right now, I'm gonna jolly well tell you why. Enough dad jokes. Believe it or not, that's not what I came here to tell you about. What I came here to tell you about is my reasons for really wanting to do the Night Riviera train specifically. And genuinely, we were talking about a bit of a bucket list thing for me here. Number one, I've always wanted to go on holiday to Cornwall. I remember going once when I was very little, and all I remember is that it rained a lot. So I've always wanted to go back and see if it actually is sunny down there sometimes. I'm sure it is. It's time to find out. But the other 2 reasons are both to do with the fact that the Night Riviera as a train, as a concept, is kind of a rarity. I mean, quite apart from the fact that this is a loco-hauled train, which on its own is a real rarity in 2019, but really for a sleeper train it really does make sense to be loco-hauled. I mean, most modern trains, whether they're electric or diesel, they have the traction motors underneath the coaches. But that's not very good if people are trying to sleep, if the noise of the engine is right underneath your feet. Having a loco at the end of the train making all the noise and leaving all the coaches to be nice and quiet, it's just a better strat, to be honest. And the simple fact of the matter is, sleeper trains as a whole are kind of an endangered species. There's only 2 left that run in the entirety of the UK. The other one is the Caledonian Sleeper from London to Edinburgh and Glasgow. The Night Riviera is the one I have never done before until tonight. This is going to be good. Since the 1983 relaunch under British Rail, the Night Riviera has generally been composed of around a handful of Mark III sleeper coaches, plus a couple of extra regular seated coaches for passengers who don't necessarily need a bed. The sleeper coaches were refurbished in 2018, and given they were first introduced in 1979, they certainly don't feel like 40-year-old coaches. There's also nowadays a lounge car with comfy seats, tables, and a bar for snacks and refreshments, which as you can see I happily partook in, for research purposes only mind. And as for the locomotives, well, down the years all sorts of top-level express locos have been in charge of this train, including in the 1980s a personal favourite of mine, the mighty Class 50. Since 2004, a roster of 4 Class 57 locomotives have handled Night Riviera duties with aplomb. These unique locomotives are actually old Class 47 British Rail locomotives on the outside, but with modified internals under the bonnet, hence their nickname body snatchers amongst spotters. In a nice nod to the train's history and route, the 4 locomotives are all named after castles in the West Country, which also pays tribute to the Great Western Railway and their castle class of steam locomotives back in the day. 57603 Tintagel Castle is our steed for this journey, rumbling tirelessly through the night, even as the occupants of the train behind her drift off to sleep. Speaking of which...
So it's now just gone past 1 AM, and believe it or not, a sleeper train is a train designed for you to sleep on. That's exactly what I'm going to do. You know.
And so I snoozed as the train continued onwards through the night, journeying through Somerset and Devon under the cover of darkness. And as I woke up again around 6 AM, dawn was just breaking, and we were crossing the legendary Royal Albert Bridge into Cornwall.
Excuse me. Good morning, people in the internet. It is 10 past 6, so just past 6 AM. I got some decent sleep, and just as I woke up, I pulled the blind up out of my window, and I was crossing the bridge over the River Tamar, and I was in Cornwall. And I don't think I've ever had a better sight to wake up to in my life. That's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you're paying for all these other things. Like, why is a Night Riviera ticket that much more expensive than a regular train ticket? Yeah, you're paying for a bed, you're paying for a room, you're paying for whatever else, but you are also paying for that. And that experience is genuinely beautiful. Yeah, best wake-up call of my life, I think. And I've not even had breakfast yet, so I'm gonna go sort that out.
And so, after 8 hours and over 300 miles, we arrived at our final destination, Penzance. And as I disembarked, bade farewell to Tintagel Castle, I had a chance to reflect on the bucket list item I'd just ticked off, and how it had lived up to every single expectation I'd have of it. Night Riviera, you were positively magical.
So I was going to film this final wrap-up section on the platform of Penzance Station this morning, but 8 AM this morning, me, running on about 3.5 hours sleep, was not very coherent. So I sat in the very nice first class lounge at Penzance. That is a benefit of getting berth tickets for the Night Riviera. You get to use the first class lounge at Paddington and Penzance, which both have showers in, I believe, which is a nice touch. But I decided to wait until I checked into my rather nice hotel I'm at the moment. I'm staying down here for a few days. I guess now is the time to try and put into words my first experience of the Night Riviera. And I was kind of thinking about it this morning at 6 AM over my cup of tea and bacon roll. The Night Riviera basically is like, it's everything that not only I love about rail travel and trains, but it's, to me,
a representation of what I think the spirit of rail travel should be. It doesn't feel like you're just travelling from one place to the other. It feels special. It feels like an adventure. It feels like you're going somewhere new. You're going from the big city to the beautiful rolling countryside and coastlines of Cornwall. And the train itself just has it's special. The locomotives have personality. I was actually talking about this with friend of the show, Jamie Kennett, who you saw in the Spa Valley episode. I was talking about how, like, locomotives, they are inanimate objects, effectively. They're machines. But for me and for many people, they kind of gain personality based on the experiences they give us and where they take us. So, for example, the HST really gained a personality and a charm based on the adventures it took me on. And the Class 57s that hauled the Night Riviera last night kind of have that same personality. They're big brutes of locomotives, but they're trying to transport you smoothly, and they're doing this grand 8-hour plus journey across the country whilst trying to make sure you have the most comfortable ride possible. They're a bit like the big friendly giant. They're big things, and yet they're slowly they're kind of gently picking you up and taking you along. I think that's kind of why I've fallen in love with the locomotives. The stock itself is really nicely outfitted now, very cozy, very warm, very welcoming. The staff, I've got to give a shout out to the staff, by the way. Very welcoming, very lovely, very helpful. And it all just contributes to this feeling of we're going on an adventure and we want it to be the best possible adventure you could possibly have. And so to me, that's what rail travel should be about. It should be about taking you on an adventure, on an experience. And every part contributes to that. The locomotive contributes to that. The rolling stock contributes to that. The people involved, the lines, the scenery. It's what it should all be about. It's kind of the whole point of this series. There's a reason why people love trains and love railways and love the exploration and love the details and the charm and everything about it. There are very good reasons why people like me have fallen in love with trains. And the Night Riviera is all of those reasons and all of those things. So Night Riviera, it's been very emotional. So, yeah. See you all next time. Another station, another mile. Thank you. So I've had a little wander up to Penzance Long Rock Depot and have a look what I've found. A Class 57 having a hecking big sleep in the middle of the day. And why not? It's a night shift worker, works a very long night shift every night. It deserves to have a hecking big snooze during the day. Look mate, could you keep it down? I'm trying to sleep in here.